So I've been seeing a debate lately, Chris Paul versus Kyrie Irving. And this shouldn't really be a debate, and you're going to see my stance on it in a little while. But I love Kyrie Irving. I love Chris Paul too. But I think Kyrie Irving is getting a bit overrated. And I don't even think he should be in these conversations. Like, Chris Paul is arguably top five point guard ever. You can argue for him being top three. And Kyrie is nowhere near that. Kyrie has never, ever led a team as a first option. I don't even think he's made it past the second round as a first option. You saw how those Celtics days went. They never made it too far in the playoffs. Kyrie wasn't a great leader for that team, obviously. After he left, that's when things started going up for them. They made the finals twice. They won a ring. Kyrie Irving is just not an effective first option. And when he's not besides LeBron, he hasn't done much in his career. Like, people always like to use that one ring, the 2016 ring, as like a argument against other players to put Kyrie over them, like how they came back from 3-1. How he hit the shot, like that shot in game 7 is like carrying Kyrie's legacy. And don't think by any means I'm trying to discredit Kyrie. Like, Kyrie is an amazing player. I think he's definitely one of the greatest point guards ever. But I just don't think he should be in Chris Paul conversations, man. Like, there's not much that Kyrie does better than Chris Paul. Chris Paul has been the number one option on the team and went to the finals on the Suns. Maybe he was the number one option. You can argue with Devin Booker. They were like hand to hand. But even if you argue that Devin Booker is the number one option, he went to the Suns, and the first year he was on the Suns, he made them an instant playoff team, top seed in the West. They went to the finals in 2021. Like, Chris Paul really has a huge impact on teams. And despite him having 0 rings compared to Kyrie's 1 ring when he was a second option to LeBron, once again, I'm not trying to discredit Kyrie, but that is something that's big to consider. He's the second option to arguably the greatest player ever. In my opinion, he is the greatest player ever. But Chris Paul, on the other hand, is coming to teams. The Suns were in the dirt before Chris Paul. Like, the Suns sucked. They were literally one of the laughing stocks of the NBA. And when Chris Paul went there, he transformed the team. And Chris Paul was really he was pretty underrated on the Suns. Like, obviously he was in his like mid to late 30s when he was on the Suns, but he led the NBA in assists one year, maybe more than 1 year. I'm not sure, I forget, but he definitely led the league in assists. He was averaging like 16 and 11. Like, Chris Paul was really good for that team. He made everyone better around him. DeAndre Ayton hasn't been the same since he played with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Like, Chris Paul makes all of his teammates better, while you cannot say the same thing about Kyrie. And there's just so much Chris Paul does better than Kyrie. Like, he's a better playmaker. He may be a better shot creator. He's definitely he's a better mid-range scorer. You could argue he's a better finisher, but maybe you can give that to Kyrie. Chris Paul is a way better defender, like, especially for his size. Like, they're around the same height. Kyrie's maybe like 6'2", Chris Paul is 6 feet. But Chris Paul is a great defender for a point guard, especially a small 6-foot point guard. You already know he's up there on the steals list. I think he's top 5 in that. And his prime, like, Chris Paul is an amazing defender. Like, he has a ton of all defensive teams. Like, Chris Paul was really locking people down, and that's a huge difference that you cannot ignore. He's way better than Kyrie on defense, and by no means is Kyrie a bad defender. Like, he's gotten better over the years, but he's not a great defender. Like, sometimes he can lock in during the playoffs, like during the 2024 playoffs, that Mavs finals run. I remember him and Luka were playing much better defense, which allowed the Mavericks to boost their defense and eventually make that finals run. But it wasn't good defense. It was solid enough defense. Like, he was sitting in the chair, he was like getting stops here and there, but it wasn't amazing defense. And once again, he's not a horrible defender, but compared to Chris Paul, it's just leagues ahead, and especially for his size. And I just think this conversation is dumb. Like, Kyrie Irving is super overrated. Once again, I love Kyrie, but I really think the 2016 finals, and once again, he performed amazing in 2016 finals, but I just think that ring, for Kyrie's legacy at least, is getting overrated. And another thing about Kyrie and his legacy, Kyrie does not have many big awards. Like, he only has a few awards, and I don't know why people are making it seem like he has much more, and like trying to make this 2016 ring and like game 7 his entire legacy. But Kyrie has only made one All-NBA team, the 3rd All-NBA team. He has multiple All-Stars, of course, but he's never won the MVP. I don't even think like he's been top 3 in MVP voting any year. and especially not multiple years, where I'm sure Chris Paul has been top 3 or top 5 at least twice. And like Kyrie's resume is just not that impressive. Like he has the ring, of course, he has the All Stars, he has one All NBA team, third All NBA team. He has no defensive teams, of course, no defensive stats that are impressive, really. And Chris Paul has what he has and more. Like, of course, he doesn't have the ring, but he's still much more of a winning player. Chris Paul has contributed to winning all throughout his career. He's made the playoffs many, many times, and I don't like how they try to put that label of like being a loser on players who don't have a ring, but have been on winning teams their entire career, impact and winning at the highest level, making the finals. In Chris Paul's case, like I don't like how ringless players are being are being like disrespected because of ring culture. And this conversation, once again, I guess you could talk about this with me for a few minutes and then like it's art, like it's Chris Paul's better. But I just think this isn't like the best debate and shouldn't really be a debate. Chris Paul is better than Kyrie Irving.